till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Well, welcome along to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition, happening right now.
This means so much to the people of it. How do we all feel, Vaping?
This is all over the newspaper front pages. Asylum hotel closure is a victory for the mums, says the Daily Express. I mean, it's on so many of tomorrow's front pages. This is basically the government's migrant policy in total disarray. We're talking about this.
Keep us safe, that's all. That's all we ask for. Put us first, not these people.
What on earth is Yvette Cooper and the government going to do? They can't keep housing migrants in hotels. It turns out that's been illegal. So what happens next? But does Rachel Reeves want to use your house to plug her black hole?
We're going to find out about President Putin in the next couple of weeks, that I can tell you. And we're going to see where it all goes. It's possible that he doesn't want to make a deal.
President Trump there conceding that President Putin might not agree to a Ukraine peace deal, but Britain is preparing to send the troops into Ukraine if that peace deal is struck. Are you happy for Sir Keir Starmer to send your boys off, and girls, probably now, modern world, off to the front lines in Ukraine? Anyway, in other news, millions more Brits could soon be receiving fat jabs as the NHS issues guidance to expand the scheme. Joining us all this evening, we've got Esther Krakow, political commentator. We've also got Jonathan Liss, the journalist, and comedian and GB News superstar Paul Cox. But now, let's get your latest headlines.
Very good evening to you from the newsroom just after 11 o'clock. Well, the top story, first to Essex. Asylum seekers are to be removed from the Bell Hotel in Epping after the council there won a temporary High Court injunction. All migrants must now leave by the 12th of September, despite a failed last-minute bid from the Home Office to have the case dismissed. The ruling follows weeks of protest sparked after a man living at the hotel was charged with sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl, which he denies. Locals are divided tonight, some celebrating outside the hotel, calling it a victory for the town, while others warn the decision only kicks the can down the road. Council leader Chris Whitbread has welcomed the judgment. He says tensions risked irreparable harm. Lawyers for the Home Secretary and hotel owners are now planning to appeal that ruling. In other news, Chancellor Rachel Reeves is weighing up a major shake-up of property tax. She's considering a new levy on homes worth more than £500,000, which could replace stamp duty on owner-occupied properties. The move comes as the Treasury explores fresh ways to raise revenue while still keeping Labour's pledge to protect the state pension triple lock. Constance Martin is seeking permission to appeal against her conviction for the gross negligence manslaughter of her baby daughter, Victoria. The Court of Appeal confirmed an application has been lodged after Martin and her partner Mark Gordon were found guilty at the Old Bailey in July. The judge accused them of trying to sabotage and manipulate their retrial. Victoria's body was discovered in a shopping bag in Brighton in 2023 after the couple went on the run for more than 50 days. The pair are due to be sentenced on the 15th of September. A woman nicknamed the Ketamine Queen is set to plead guilty over the overdose death of Friends star Matthew Perry. 42-year-old Jasveen Sangar has agreed to admit 5 charges in Los Angeles, including distributing ketamine, resulting in death. Perry was found dead in a jacuzzi at his LA home in October 2023. And a coroner ruled his death was caused by the acute effects of ketamine. Sangar is one of 5 people, including doctors and Perry's own assistant, accused of exploiting his addiction for profit and supplying the drugs that led to his death. And we only ever bring you the most serious of news here on GB News. Drivers, you're being warned of major delays this bank holiday weekend. 17.6 million getaway trips are expected across the UK. The RAC says the South East and South West will see the worst congestion, and they're urging motorists to set off early or be prepared to spend longer in traffic. Friday will be very busy, 3 million journeys, then another 2.4 million forecast on Sunday and even higher on Monday. That is the news on GB News. Join us again from the newsroom 9:30 tomorrow morning. For now, though, it's over to Patrick.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Welcome to Late Edition. Let's get stuck into Wednesday's front pages. We start with the Metro. Fury at Reeves's £500,000 wealth tax on homes. I know there's a lot of concern for people, mainly because the idea they might fix it at £500,000, which might seem like a lot of money for homes now, but in 20 years' time, it ain't going to be, is it, the way that house prices go, so you're all going to be dragged into it. Let's go to The Independent. UK preparing to send troops to Ukraine if a peace deal is struck. Do you want Sir Keir Starmer to send your sons and daughters off to Ukraine to get shot at by Putin? Well, I suspect not. But The Telegraph, migrant hotels facing closure, and this is the first of a long line of front pages covering this story now, and it relates to the High Court verdict about the Bell Hotel in Epping. So it's essentially said that it's been illegal all along, these migrant hotels, because they didn't have planning permission to become them. The I paper, need I remind you, it's a left-wing paper. Migrant policy in disarray as court rules that protest hotel must evict asylum seekers. Yes, the Daily Star. Tipping point. People are apparently adding service charges for buying beer at the bar. So not only is it £10 a pint and like 15 quid for some urine-covered nuts, you've got this as well. Ridiculous, isn't it? Thank you. So I can be served a lukewarm, non-alcoholic pint by a woman with a nose ring and blue hair. Brilliant. The Guardian. High Court. Talking to people who read The Guardian. High Court asylum seekers must be... High Court rules that asylum seekers must be moved from the protest hotel. The Daily Express. Asylum hotel closure is a victory for mums, and it really is, I must say. Well done to the women of Epping. But the Sun... Well, it looks like Noel Gallagher has done an interview or accidentally spoken to a Sun journalist by mistake and said, I'm so proud of Liam. So that's good. Daily Mail. Labour's migrant hotels policy is in disarray. The Times, High Court puts asylum hotel policy into turmoil. The Mirror, British troops quotes to keep the peace. That's again British boots on the ground. Well, look, let's get stuck into all of this with my panel. I think the place to start really is with the big story of the day, which is that the High Court has ruled that the migrant hotel in Epping is going to have to close. Now we're seeing other councils following suit as well. This has set a legal precedent. It means really that it's been illegal to house asylum seekers, illegal migrants in these hotels because they should not have been. They didn't have planning permission for it. They had planning permission to be used as hotels and not for dumping grounds for blokes from Eritrea. So I'll start with you on this, Paul. Migrant hotels facing closure. This feels like a big moment, this.
It is a big moment, and congratulations to the people of Epping, particularly the mums.
Yeah.
That is fantastic news. None of them racist, I wouldn't have thought, Jonathan. But I would. But don't know. By the way, I don't know. I just look straight. He hasn't done anything yet. But he's disarmingly lovely as well. I don't know why I did that. He's disarmingly lovely. But I'm just getting into the spirit of things. Sorry.
No, it's good. Start a fight. Land the first blow.
No. But let me make a point.
Big day.
It is a huge day. It's very interesting to find out that it's kind of illegal on a planning permission front all along, which makes you wonder what else is illegal. Because people, on both sides of the debate will push the envelope as far as they can to do the things they need to do, and it is a problem. And I say this is a victory, but tomorrow it's a problem again, because where do they all go?
Home.
Well, yeah, exactly. But they never do, Patrick. Do they? They never go. Yeah, exactly. So the answer is we send them home. We don't have the mechanism to send them home.
Planes.
Estonia, you remember that? Hold on, Estonia. Remember that place that always wanted to send prisoners to because our prisoners were overcrowded? They had the brilliant idea to send them to basically farm barns in Estonia for a fraction of the price that it cost us to put them in prison here. What's wrong with processing them in Estonia? It's a safe country, it's a Western country. What's wrong with that?
Estonia might have something to say about that.
Well, that's kind of the point. Can we just talk about that for a second? Because this is the second time you've mentioned that tonight. Actually, the third or fourth time I've had to talk to Portugal.
Yeah.
Let's just say, take the kind of the morality out of it, and just talk on a practical level. If you were going to...
I've been taking the morality out of it for a long time. It doesn't bother me, mate.
I noticed, mate. If you were to start deporting people, how do you think that would work if you don't have an agreement with a country? Imagine from the other side of things. Imagine, say, there was someone that a country wanted to deport here that we didn't want. Can you imagine the howls of outrage if that country tried to send that person back to this country when our government did not want that person? You have to have an agreement between the two countries to say, we will take these people back. If you don't, and also there is such thing as international, sort of human rights. But there is, and if a country is going to be unsafe for people, then we can't. The government, it would be illegal.
Yeah, we can. We physically can. If you're from Afghanistan, you go back to Afghanistan. I don't care. Don't come.
Do you know the countries on the deport now, appeal later list scheme? So basically, foreign national offenders that from certain countries that are on the deport first and then appeal later. Canada. Do you know how many Canadian gangbangers we're deporting from Hull every year?
What? No.
Zero. I was worried you were going to say there was 3 last year.
That word.
Whatever.
But where do we go, though? Because it's now pretty unsafe here. So I want to know where we could go. Where's the safe haven for me and Patrick?
The problem...
studio.
Seriously, the problem that Yvette Cooper is going to have now is that Labour's policy of using houses in multiple occupancy is even worse than the migrant hotels, because you cannot have security outside every single HMO. People are going to be just dotted plonks into the middle of residential streets as well. So that's even worse.
Be careful what you wish for, then, isn't it?
No, not be careful what you wish for. I'm saying she can't do it. They can't. So, and let's just deal with the numbers. So I know there's a few dozen people in the Bell Hotel. There's 300 blokes in a hotel in Altrincham, as far last time I checked, and that's replicated across the country. Goodness only knows how many are in the Britannia Hotel. Goodness only knows how many are in these ones in Bournemouth. So if it's illegal to house them in there, we haven't got the housing to put them in HMOs. What are we going to do with them?
300 people, 300 men in those hotels. Statistically, by the new statistics, there are at least 3 sexual offenders in that hotel. 1 in every 100, right? That in itself is a massive problem. I know we continually have this debate, and obviously we've got our own homegrown sexual attackers, and we've got enough on our plate trying to deal with those. I have a huge problem. I'm from the Waterlooville area, which is now famous for being either the worst town centre in all of the UK or the town centre that's been saved by Suella Braverman from a migrant hotel. So we have quite the things to shout about. But my biggest concern, genuinely, when they were going to put a migrant hotel in there, rightly or wrongly, is that I've got a 15/16-year-old daughter. She's not both ages. She changed. It's her birthday next week. Yeah, she will. She will transition. There's a big problem in my household. But I was genuinely concerned. If you're just going to dump these men and they're going to leer at you. Now, I am a gammon and proud of it.
A very young one.
A young gammon, yeah, but and a good-looking one, as you were saying earlier, Jonathan.
I never said that.
But it is a huge problem. All joking aside, it's a huge problem.
Look, I think you actually touched on the point, didn't you? That it's a huge that violence against women and girls is a huge problem in this country, and I know I say this point all the time, but the vast majority of those offences are committed by white British men, and there's obviously going to be in any cohort of the population a proportion.
But the Afghans are 20 times more likely to,
There's going to be a
Jonathan.
proportion of wrong-uns in any cohort of the population.
But what
We
happens
can't expect all asylum seekers to be saints, but that's the point.
But the thing is,
do you throw the baby out of the bathwater?
But what happens when the proportionality is exponentially increased with one particular group that's not native to this country? You're saying, OK, if you have a group of people together in one area, there's going to be a degree of criminality. Fine. We're not even dealing with that. Why are we importing people that have a significantly higher by orders of magnitude rate of committing those types of crimes? It doesn't make sense.
Let me give you a bit of detail on the Eyes front page, if that's okay. If we can bring that up. So, migrant policy in disarray as court rules protest hotel must evict asylum seekers. They say the judgment puts Home Office policy in turmoil, and lawyers warn the move may substantially impact 30,000 asylum seekers.
But can you
so
imagine if this ruling is overturned? It's basically going to be the government versus the people.
Exactly. And Yvette Cooper might even decide to take this to the ECHR. Because she could.
I mean, she
goes to
really
Supreme Court.
leave her job.
I think that we've already identified the problem that we can't, as the law stands, even if you wanted to, you couldn't deport.
Yes, you can. Get them on an aeroplane, send them back to Kabul.
That's not lawful. The government has to...
Mogadishu will have them.
I don't think they're taking any flights.
This is just tub-thumping.
It's not tub-thumping, I do it.
Operate within the law.
I don't care about the law.
As the law stands, they can't do that. So where do you house these people?
The problem is if we don't send them back, then the only other argument to have is how many paedophiles is it acceptable to have near a school?
But I'm sorry,
which is what I know you're looking at me weird now, Jonathan, but that's what we're saying, right? Every time they stick a HMO or a hotel and it's near a school, and statistically 1 in every 100 is a sexual attacker of young girls, that is a paedophile. How many? There is no acceptable number of paedophiles near a school. End of chat.
But also, sorry, it turns out that these migrant hotels have been illegal. So you talk about, like, oh, we must adhere to the law, we must stick to the law. Well, they've been breaking the law by having these asylum seeker hotels in communities.
I think that the government will take this to the Supreme Court to test the legality of these hotels in principle. Because otherwise they're going to have council
OK, so let's see.
They'll test it, but I agree, it's a major problem.
Hold on. What if the Supreme Court says it is illegal because this is not what this residence was there for? You cannot even like plant a certain pot in your back garden without planning permission.
Well, then
how
the
can you
government will
do
have a
this?
major
How?
problem.
It's
well, what the government
ridiculous.
will then have to do is what the government used to do in the 90s, which is to give it to local authorities.
And the
government should be funding local authorities in order to
they will, in order for them to win, they will have to change the law on planning. Simple as that. They will have to change the law. If they can change the law on planning, they can change the law on deportation. So why don't you just solve the problem, only change one law, change the law? Well, you can. You can change any law.
That's what happens when Parliament is sovereign.
You can't just send people to a country without that country.
The Germans have got to deal with Afghanistan, where they're sending them back to Afghanistan, so we can just replicate that.
France send them here every day without us requesting them.
It's not the French government sending people here.
Well, it is.
Feels like it,
though. The French government.
Well, it is.
Well, it's not, though.
Well, it is.
Well, the UK and France literally have an agreement now where they're going to be.
Sending
that's why they needed the agreement, Pat. That's why they needed the agreement.
It's called the CELAV agreement, where we just help them along.
Look, this is a huge moment. It's on. We've spoken about it on front of the Eye. I mean, the Guardian have gone. The High Court rules asylum seekers must be moved from the protest hotel. Home Office lawyers warn the High Court decision could substantially impact the ability to put asylum seekers in hotels. There were more than 30,000 in those hotels, in 200 hotels in England and Wales as of March this year. The Home Office sources say they've been left reeling by this judgment. This is where we are.
Now they know how the mums of Vaping feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, but it's the truth. I cannot believe that this has been going on for this long, yet someone, somewhere, whether it's these politicians' offices or these councils, knew that it was illegal. It is astonishing to me.
Well, they did know. They did
know.
Like everyone who's breaking the law, most people know when they're breaking the law, and they just keep quiet until someone says stop. They don't seek permission. What's the saying? They don't
better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
That's what I'm trying to think.
Philosophy I've lived by.
It's worth pointing out. Michael Crick, esteemed left-wing, well, not left-wing, centrist,
fan of the show
on this channel, tweeted just now that the judge in this case was a Conservative candidate in a by-election 20 years ago. So we hear a lot.
Okay,
and
you know what? Can I just say on that very risky game? Go on. Let's find out how every single judge in the country voted. Let's find out where they are.
If a judge on the other side turned out to be a Labour candidate in a by-election, we would have had we'd have had nothing.
21 years ago, Jonathan.
Nothing but.
I don't think this is the slam donkey thing this is. You do realise in 20 years people can have changed political affiliations.
If people have a political past, it's always worth
From 20
bearing
years
in mind.
ago, that's
Okay,
2
but we would hear
generations ago.
so much about it on the other side.
No, we don't.
We would hear about it on the other side.
No, we wouldn't.
If it had been a
That's interesting, Jonathan, because we're currently led by a lawyer who represented a ban jihadi terrorist group called Hizb ut-Tahrir to try to prevent them from being banned as a terrorist organisation in Germany. So should he be in charge of this country? If a judge who stood as it's the cab rank rule, is it? Oh, right, OK.
I'm not saying
it's just a lot of these people have... He didn't get any point. He goes, why am I so popular with all of these jihadis? Like, maybe at some point, you know...
Patrick, I'm not saying this judge should not be able to serve or should recuse himself.
Okay.
I'm just pointing out that this is someone who we do know a little bit of his political background. And if it was the other way around, you would definitely be mentioning it.
It's 20 years.
Yeah,
Are you kidding?
All right. No, fair point.
I voted for Tony Blair 20 years ago.
It's a fair...
No, exactly.
It deserves to at least be mentioned.
Okay.
No, it really does.
It does. No, fair enough, because there is a point there. If this was someone who was a signed-up member of the Labour Party, then fair enough. But it's interesting because we don't do it like to people in the media. Like Lewis Goodall started out in the Labour Party, didn't he, at Sky? And then he was...
No way.
Well, he's not a judge, is he?
No, but he's a reporter. Isn't he?
He's very judgy, Jonathan.
And objective. Just the news agents.
I just wonder
if you should be made to do that. Were you ever a member of a political party? Did you ever in any way work for anyone who was affiliated with a political party, you know, before you went into media as an objective journalist? Anyway, let's get to the second big story in tonight's papers, and we'll do it after the break. But British troops being sent to Ukraine. That's on the Mirror and the Independent's front pages. Would you be happy for Sir Keir Starmer to send your son, your daughter, or anyone's sons and daughter, for example, to go and defend Ukraine? What happens in that nightmare / quite likely scenario that they get struck by a Russian missile or stray Russian bullet, and we're dragged into something? Is this a bad move? Stay tuned.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Have you seen the president yet?
Morning, guys. No, not yet. We're just in the press room behind the scenes. I've got my Trump Turnberry coffee cup, though, just to prove to you that I really am here. We're waiting here basically until we get the nod to run out, hopefully to see Donald Trump and Keir Starmer together. These occasions, I'm realising, are a little bit sort of hurry up and wait. We think that the Prime Minister and the President might be meeting outdoors today. Yesterday, you might have seen Trump with Ursula von der Leyen in the amazing ballroom, in the grand ballroom here at Turnberry. Well, the weather is surprisingly nice for Scotland. The sun is out. It isn't raining. So there's a chance that we will get to talk to these two world leaders, but we won't be in the ballroom. We'll be outside, I think, on the golf course. We're just waiting to hear.
And what's the atmosphere like, Bev? Is there a lot of excitement?
I think amongst the press, they're all fairly used to this sort of thing. I mean, I still feel a little bit like a competition winner because I came on Air Force One, and I'm still really excited about the whole ordeal. But I think a lot of people here have done this sort of thing before. you know, we've had an influx this morning of the British press. So I'm with the international call who came over on Air Force One. There are about 13 of us. But the British press are here as well today. They're all obviously keen to get their own questions into Starmer. It will be that setting where, you know, we just all go for it if we can and throw a question out in that direction. I got lucky on Friday when we were on the runway at Prestwick Airport, Glasgow Prestwick Airport, when we landed on Air Force One, and I asked him about immigration, and of course he gave us that line about the fact that Europe has to get its act together.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
All right, welcome back to Late Edition. So let's deal with the two front pages, the Mirror and the Independent. Good. So we start with the Independent. The UK is preparing to send troops to Ukraine if a peace deal is struck. Do we think this is a good thing? Britain is going to deploy a reassurance force if Zelensky and Putin can agree to end the war, as Starmer leads the European coalition of the willing. But Trump rules out US boots on the ground. Paul,
It's interesting that the two left papers, I consider the Mirror left these days, obviously, Independent, are leading on this, and I can't tell from what I can see on the front page if they themselves think this is a good idea. I think sometimes people can get too caught up in partisan views on these things. I'm a big supporter of making sure we protect Ukraine. I'm a big supporter of making sure we protect particularly the Baltic part of Europe, but peace will come at a price. So if there is a peace deal here, it's not just going to come at a price for the Ukraine, it's going to come at a price for the countries surrounding it, including us. And the decision for us will be, how much part of continental Europe are we? This isn't about whether we're members of the EU or not. This is not a Brexit issue, as far as I'm concerned. This is about how much we see protecting Europe as protecting us. So we will, at some point, have to admit that we either say, no, it's no troops, or it's troops and we're protecting ourselves.
I don't think that we're part of Europe.
Hold on.
No, this is my point. My point is, you'd expect me to say, I'll wash my hands of Europe, I'm not interested. I'm differentiating the EU and Europe, continental Europe.
But that works both.
We're in NATO, and I believe
But that works both ways. How much? So if the UK was in a Ukraine situation, for example, how much security guarantees can we get from Europe?
Yeah, I mean, by the way...
Seriously, like, I'm...
Yeah, it's a great point, and I don't have the answer, obviously.
But that's the thing. These sentiments are often one way. So we can say, oh, Britain is not necessarily not part of the EU, but we're part of Europe and we should do our duty. OK, if the roles were reversed, how many European countries would be coming to our aid in the same way?
Well, under Article 5 of NATO, all of them.
No, I said in the same way that we're expected to come to any country's aid. That's... By the way, Ukraine is not even in NATO, so you can't even extend that argument. Second point, we can absolutely offer Ukraine security guarantees, which I think you're right, we should do. Boots on the ground is absolutely non-negotiable. No. There should be...
Why not?
Not a single... Because we should never, ever tolerate even the potential, the possibility of a British soldier losing their life in Ukraine.
Is there not actually an interesting point that Jonathan identified, which is that, let's say that we don't, but the Germans do, or the French do. No, but then they get shot and killed by Putin. Because that's an attack on a fellow NATO member, we're involved then, aren't we?
Well,
so it's almost like any...
I don't think that's how Article 5 works.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't think that's how Article 5 works. In the same way that British troops were killed in Iraq, but France certainly didn't send troops to defend British troops there, because that wasn't an attack on UK soil, and obviously France was bitterly opposed to that war. So I don't think that would be an issue in this case. I think that if you have a situation like this, which is not a belligerent invasion of a state. We're not talking about another Iraq here. We're talking about upholding an international order that is absolutely, resolutely in Britain's interests. And so, you know, if there is a peace deal, which obviously is in everyone's interests, and that is what we are, you know, trying to achieve. That's what Starmer, I think that's one thing that he's doing really well, actually, is working with other European leaders to try and nudge Trump in, you know, whatever way he can. He's obviously forged a very good relationship with Zelensky as well, which is great. If we do manage to get that peace, it will have to be backed up, because we go back to 1994, the last time that Ukraine entered a multilateral agreement with other states, which the Budapest Memorandum. It's interesting that Trump is talking about hosting this summit potentially in Budapest between Zelensky and Putin, because in 1994, Ukraine agreed to give up its nuclear arsenal in return for security guarantees and guarantees of its territorial integrity, signed by Russia, the UK, the United States and others. What happened? Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons, and then obviously in 2022, Russia invaded. Where were the security guarantees? They were non-existent.
So hold on, the security guarantees went as far back as 2014, and the Obama White House watched as Russia annexed Crimea and did absolutely nothing. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and there should be security guarantees, but when you have situations where the leading Western power is not willing to do anything to stop them,
yes, but also Russia can't be trusted is the point here.
Well, yeah, but that's another point that I would
why are we putting
raise.
boots on the ground if this has happened again? It's probably going to happen again in the future.
Last night, for example, there was apparently this huge bombardment of parts of Ukraine by Russia. So let's just say that we strike this deal, and the coalition of the flipping willing strike this deal, and then we put a cohort of European troops on the ground. And it turns out that actually Putin doesn't care, and he just blows them all up.
Stop.
Trump's not got any compulsion to be there at all. Then what, are we at war with Russia?
Yes, absolutely, we will be, and it's the start of the war with Russia if we're not very careful. It 100% is. Look, I hate to hark back to World War II, but Great Britain.
There's no one in this
Britannia.
Britannia all the way. We fought that war. We fought that war from day one to the final day on one principle, and that was protecting the UK and the rest of Europe from tyranny.
The Empire.
Yes, and the Empire, which was a great time, Jonathan, as you were saying in the break. Remember Jonathan going on about the Empire, pink's his favourite colour. But no, so we would absolutely have to fight on principle. This is why I didn't go as far as saying absolutely no troops on the ground in Europe, because we cannot fight this on a left and right political matter. Sorry, Patrick.
I wasn't in shock. I yawned, but it wasn't at you. It's been a long day.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm doing my best, mate.
I forgot where I was for a second then. It's something else, isn't it? I would have affected you all. Right, OK, so it's a hard no to troops on the ground in Ukraine.
I think we probably have to, because just on the basis that I don't believe this is a left and right issue, I think this is an issue of protecting our principles, which we share with Europe.
And if we look, I don't think that we should be the only country to do it, but I think it would be a bit rich to let other countries do it and then to stand back and say, well, sorry, not our war, Gov. We can't do that.
It's not.
My Twitter's gone mental right now.
What are people saying?
Well, no, I haven't looked, but just by me saying troops on the ground, because I think people have divided the Ukraine issue into a left and right issue, and it feels like the right, which I'm part of, have decided that we're washing our hands with Ukraine, which leaves only one choice, which is to side with Russia.
Sure that's true. The right is doing that. I think you have different.
Not all the right. The American right, for sure.
The MAGA right has actually gone back the other way towards Ukraine. If you look at the polling in America, Republicans are now much more in favour of Zelensky in the last few months, since there's been a rapprochement between Trump and Zelensky. So these things are quite, fluid.
OK. All right, well, there's lots more still to come. I mean, Rachel Reeves' 500k wealth tax on homes is causing a lot of stir online, but it's also on the front of the Metro. Noel Gallagher has done an interview saying he's very proud of Liam as well. That's on the front of the Sun. And we're also going to be talking about what's on the front of the Daily Star, actually, because apparently it's a tipping point, it's being called. Boozers are being slapped with an automatic service charge for ordering drinks themselves at a bar. 4% tariff adds about 30p to the pint of beer and cider. So I think we'll be talking about that when we come back after this very short interlude. I'll see you on the other side. Or now.
Good evening. Time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Tomorrow, overall a sunnier day. Yes, still starting fairly grey for many of us, and certainly by tomorrow evening you'll notice a cooler, fresher feel. That's because a cold front is slipping south. We've had this weather front across the far southwest today. It's been providing some fairly heavy showers through parts of Devon and Cornwall and the Channel Islands. They're all kind of fading away through this evening, however, so most places becoming dry. The cloud thick enough over the Midlands and eastern England for maybe a little bit of drizzle here and there. The cloud breaking across Scotland, some clearer spells coming in here, with thicker clouds still persisting over England and Wales. So still quite a warm night, but it will be turning cooler, particularly by tomorrow night across the south. As we go through tonight, as I said, the cloud breaking up across Scotland, so generally a sunnier day to come here. Still fairly cloudy at times around the east coast, and should also be a brighter day generally across Northern Ireland. Again, a bit of cloud early on, but it should be breaking up. It'll take a little longer for the cloud to break up across England and Wales, so again, for that journey to work in the morning, it may be a little bit drab, but again, not much rain around. Apart from the odd little bit of drizzle here and there, most places will again have a dry day. And look at this, the cloud tends to break up as we go through the morning. So Northern England, much of Wales, the Midlands should turn sunnier by lunchtime. May take a little longer for the sun to come out across the south of England, but even here I'm hopeful it will do by the middle of the afternoon. Temperatures about average for the time of year, feeling fresh again on those North Sea coasts with a brisk wind, but in the sunshine elsewhere, feeling pleasant enough. Temperatures dropping sharply though through the evening, and it will be a chilly start to Thursday. Again, many places dry and bright with some spells of sunshine, just a bit more cloud bubbling up as we go through the day. But generally a fine day to come on Thursday too, and the fine weather set to persist really even into the weekend. A lot of dry weather and turning just a touch warmer as well, although the mornings will still be chilly.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. Well, across the front pages tomorrow, or Friday, Wednesday, if you're watching this in the morning, I wish. Wednesday, if you're watching in the morning, then it is mostly about this asylum hotel policy being in disarray, but there's some other stories in town. New concerns are being raised about youth access to e-cigarettes. A new global study has revealed that children who go on to vape are more likely to become smokers. Just a quick survey here.
I'm shocked.
Where are you on the vape smoke spectrum? A vapor smoker?
So I have smoked and I have vaped. Interestingly,
presumably for you,
I smoked as an 18-year-old and then took it up again when I was 36 for a bit.
Good for you.
and
was it like stress?
I don't know quite. I thought I was just hanging out with the cool kids, Esther, and I just thought that's what they do. I don't know quite what happened. I really don't. And then I used vape to get off.
Okay.
what you do. It's entirely up to you. Smoker or vapor or nothing? Neither smoker or vapor?
No. Too vain for that.
Nothing. I don't believe you.
You've never either of any of them? I can believe Esther hasn't.
OK.
No, I'm too vain to do that. I'm just like, kid care and yeah.
OK, fine. Well, the reason I ask is because it's time now to bring in pharmacist Torun Govind. Thank you very much for joining us on the show tonight. So it turns out, thank you. So it turns out that vaping is essentially a gateway to smoking, which is slightly self-defeating, isn't it?
So children who vape are more likely to go on to be smokers, and they've found consistent evidence that those who vape are 3 times more likely to go on to be smokers. And it's not just about the actual smoking. We've got to think about the mental health impact as well. And we know that not only vapers are more likely to smoke in later life, they are also more likely to smoke more frequently and intensely. Now, the key factor for me here is we have been touting vaping as the less harmful option to smoking, which it is, but it really shows with these reviews the real cost on the next generation when it comes to smoking and nicotine. And we've worked so hard as a country to manage how people access those and what imagery is seen about them. So we need to think about how that's working with vaping as well.
Yeah, because I thought there was a bit of a promotional number done on vapes, to be honest with you, wasn't there, with a view of getting people off smoking. But I suppose what that didn't counter was, and what presumably we're only now starting to get the data on, is what happens to children or young adults who start vaping. Is there a barrier for them to then start smoking? And it appears that there isn't. So, I mean, what do we realistically do about this stuff? I mean, I am a smoker, by the way, so there's that, isn't there? But you know, we're being absolutely, you know, they want to try and price us out of the game, and I think it is getting to a point where, you know, if it goes up any more, I'll probably have to have a serious conversation with my accountant about whether or not I can carry on doing this. So, you know, there is that. So pricing people out of it might work, but what do we do with vapes? Do we ramp the prices of them up as well?
I think it's about having a conversation with people so they're actually truly informed about the fact that we are getting all this new information about vaping. To me, the most concerning part is we've already got a generation who, you know, if you think about the worst of COVID, people's mental health really did suffer. And we've got young children now who are being diagnosed with asthma, breathing problems and poor mental health. We don't need to add to the mental health crisis. And it's already hard enough to access for children. It's hard enough to access mental health services.
Yeah, well, quite. If it's all right with you, I'd just like to talk about another story. It's on the front of the Daily Telegraph. It's about Ozempic. So millions more to get Ozempic on the NHS. I think it is pretty much as straightforward as that, really. The NHS Medicines Watchdog, the National Institute of Health and Care Excellence, NICE, has issued draft guidance calling for the use of jabs, sometimes used to treat weight loss, to be ramped up significantly. Are you in favour of this?
So I'm...
She either dropped off the line
or starts swearing.
We've lost that.
Effort and Jeff in there.
I don't think Torren hates
Or hates fat people.
Paul, what do you think about this?
Well, I think that she needs to calm down about the Ozempic now. I don't think... I'm not a big fan of the nanny state, and I always associate, if we're talking about vaping and cigarettes, we should, you know, we should tell children that they shouldn't do, but once they become adults, and, you know, it's up to them. And, you know, but when it comes to the Ozempic, you know, it's a bit like...
You lost weight the natural way.
I did lose weight the natural way in the last 12 months, which meant that everybody feels comfortable to say to me, you've been on the jab.
Been on the jab.
You just wouldn't say that. You just wouldn't say that.
Is that the norm now? Been on the jab?
Yeah.
And they think they're like, you've been on the jab. Like, I would
be so offended.
Yeah, well, I am. I'm like, well, I've got no free... I don't, actually, because I'm a people pleaser. I just go, no, I haven't.
But no one believes you either.
And then they don't. So I might just say, yeah. But we don't know. Do we know what the long-lasting damage of this stuff is? Well, this is what I want to know.
Because back for round 2, it's Torren Devin who's a pharmacist. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. Yes, Ozempic. Well, let's pick up on that. Do we know if there are any long-term potential harms of Ozempic?
We're still looking into this. So again, these are drugs where we're constantly looking at the side effects and also the long-term profiles of. So again, I'm trying to encourage people to think more about their whole holistic health, integrative health, as I call it. So exercise, diet, nutrition. We want people to be in a stage where they don't get to the stage of needing these weight loss drugs. When it comes to the supply chain as well, that is very fragile, and we have had issues with getting hold of that medication. So it's all very well talking about more prescribing, but where is the actual drug coming from? Clearly falling off that distribution line there.
Well, yeah, exactly, yes. I thought the US were going to ramp up the cost of this. But I don't know whether that just applied to people getting it privately or presumably, if it's on the NHS, does that mean, like, we're all paying for it?
So Donald Trump has issued a sort of big warning to all the farmers, saying you need to ramp up your prices elsewhere and we want it cheaper domestically in the US. That's going to impact the supply here. We've already seen notifications from the manufacturers of Mounjaro, tirzepatide, about some price increases in September. And our big concern is people are going to go to black market, unlicensed, unregulated areas to access these drugs. Please don't do it, because you're putting yourself at big risk.
Well, actually, and there was a story yesterday, I think it might have been on the front of the Metro, actually, about fake pharmacies, basically online fake pharmacies, which is a big issue. Well, look, thank you very much. I'm really glad that we got you back. So thank you so much. This is Torrin Governor. Until next time. As a pharmacist, very much a real pharmacist as well. So good. Right. Okay. So yeah, this Ozempic stuff. I mean, I did. Well, more and more people are doing it. You're not going to be able to stop them doing it, really, are you? I mean, I think part of me thinks, why not?
I just think there should be a bit of a buy-in. Like you shouldn't. You shouldn't automatically get it. Like there were weight loss surgeries on the NHS where they wouldn't actually allow you to have it until you'd been consistently
lose a certain.
Yeah, get
like
weighed at the zoo. Yeah.
I think you should have the same buy-in for Ozempic. Like, get healthy. Make sure you go to the gym. Get everyone a pure gym pass, which is like 30 quid a month.
Get really, really fat.
What? Well, no.
Which is delicious.
Get people used to before you spend our money to get them on this
I've eaten
jab.
nothing but bacon lard.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating
someone's health if they're not willing to
It's a good point.
themselves.
Everyone I know that's on Ozempic or has been on Ozempic is middle class and has paid for it.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no idea. So the first thing when people said to me, were you on Ozempic? I said, no, I never went to my doctor and, asked to lose weight. I didn't do that. Well, you don't need to. You just, just go on these websites and they'll send it in. And you just pay for it. And I'm obviously not going to name these people, but I would say at least 50% of the people that have done it were already a pretty healthy weight anyway.
Oh.
They used it to get extra slim. It's a cosmetic, that's their personal choice. But I would still like to understand what the long-term effect of it is. Because nothing beats eating less and moving more.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that, isn't it?
Well, I don't know, some people would say a simple injection into your gut does mean that you don't have to do any of that. and
would you do? Can you have it?
Yeah, I'm not opposed. I've not made any attempt to procure Ozempic, but I would do. Yeah, probably.
If you know someone like me, you should definitely you would consider it, because I'd mock you all the time.
You'd mock me for taking Ozempic?
For being like...
But then I'd look so beautiful that you wouldn't dare. Yeah. You wouldn't dare.
But you lost a load of weight anyway.
Yeah, because I had fear. So I signed up. Thank you. I signed up to do the Dream Boys, which I did on stage. So I had to get my kit off when we were filming it.
Dream Boys, like a
Strippers, male strip club.
Oh, okay,
yeah. And did that, and that meant that everyone was going to look at me
on GBNews.
Yeah, I did it to raise money for the mental health charity Mind.
Yes, well done, Patrick.
Ironically, probably drove more people to suicide by. But anyway, and it was fear, so I knew that, so I had to do it. But now I don't have the fear, so I have the flab. Okay.
What was it like being a male stripper?
Really good, actually. I tell you what, if I'd have committed to it, it's one hell of a life. Right, coming up, are dolphins in Dorset targeting women in wetsuits? Yeah, by the way, that's dolphins we're talking about this time. Stay tuned.
Not migrants in...
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're thinking of heading further afield for a holiday, well, you can expect some thunderstorms across the south of France, the Alps, northern Italy. Breezy for Portugal, extending into Madeira and the Canaries, that breeze. Across much of Iberia, it's fine, but towards the north into Andorra, the south of France, and more especially northern Italy and the Alps, some very heavy and lively thunderstorms are expected. Plenty of sunshine, meanwhile, for Greece. Temperatures back closer to average following the heatwave last week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, It happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Well, this is an interesting story. It's in the Daily Telegraph on page 5. Women in wetsuits have been told not to swim near dolphins. Swimmers have been warned to steer clear of a dolphin, a specific dolphin apparently, which targets women in wetsuits. So the animal has been called Reggie.
Reggie Savile.
OK. Became notorious this month after joining swimmers in Lyme Bay, Dorset, for an early morning frolic. Well, I'm sorry, but right, OK. Can we just the wetsuit thing? I imagine, I could be wrong on this, but I imagine that any woman who gets in, or man for that matter, who gets into
you want women.
Lyme, fair enough, but who gets into Lyme Bay in Dorset is probably wearing a wetsuit.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe it likes humans.
I thought you were going to say if she's dressed like that, she deserves it.
Oh.
I thought that's what you were going to say. But look at the whole panel squirming now. That's not. But you know, it
is tight.
It is tight. It is. Okay, Esther, this is distracting. We've just got a few more minutes. But yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because they do enjoy sex, dolphins, don't they? Famously.
Do they?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, doesn't everyone?
No, not all of them. Like, especially.
I think dolphins are quite randy. They can also do other things, though. They've got actual superpowers. They can detect certain types of cancer, for example.
Great.
And they're very good at telling if a woman is pregnant, probably because then they know that someone else has done the job.
Because they were involved.
Yeah, Reggie. But yes,
Reggie's the guy.
Not quite sure where to go with this, to be honest.
We can't. Yeah.
Mammals. Dolphins are mammals.
Yeah.
So,
did you just look that up? Did you just look that up, Jonathan? You had your phone. Dolphins.
To check it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm already embarrassed.
It's like the Bloodhound Gang song, isn't it? You and Me, Baby Ain't Nothing But Mammals. So that's on the Discovery Channel.
Yeah, and Reggie...
One of the best songs of the 90s.
Reggie's heard it and he's thought,
but we haven't heard what Reggie thinks, have we? You know, it's all very good accusing Reggie of this stuff. There'd be women, and he's
Sorry, Paul, but Reggie's a massive perv.
Fair enough. All right, well, Reggie's having a good time. Anyway, in what is actually about to be a screeching handbrake turn, here we go. Here on Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition, we are unapologetically proud of our great nation. The Union flag is more than just a flag. It's a powerful symbol of who we are. We fly the flag here at the GB News studio every day, and we're sure that you would love to as well. And that is why, if you look on your screens right now, you'll see a QR code. What I want you to do is hover your phone in front of that QR code. Alternatively, you can type in that email address, which is gbnews.com/flag. That's gbnews.com/flag. We are giving away up to 500 free Union flags just for you. You can put it on display in your window. You can put it any way you like, pretty much, really. It's your chance to show your love and support for your country and everything that we stand for. Like I said, scan that QR code, type in that email address, or not email address, whatever it's called, gbnews.com. URL. Thank you, Jonathan. gbnews.com/flag. There you go. And 500 of these flags are up for grabs. So there you go. Full terms and conditions apply, of course, and they can be found on the website or by scanning that QR code. That's what it's called. It's a website, isn't it? gbnews.com/flag.
This might be peak GB News.
This is
you want a flag, Jonathan. Don't pretend you don't.
So you'll be returning yours, will you? Sorry, I've got to do a quick run through the papers. In fact, I haven't got time for a run through the papers, so let me summarise. On pretty much all of them, it's all about the historic High Court ruling about the Epping Migrant Hotel being closed and what it means in your area. Thank you to my panel. Breakfast is next if you're watching in the morning. Take care.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening. Time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Tomorrow, overall a sunnier day. Yes, still starting fairly grey for many of us, and certainly by tomorrow evening you'll notice a cooler, fresher feel. That's because a cold front is slipping south. We've had this weather front across the far southwest today. It's been providing some fairly heavy showers through parts of Devon and Cornwall and the Channel Islands. They're all kind of fading away through this evening, however, so most places becoming dry. The cloud thick enough over the Midlands and eastern England for maybe a little bit of drizzle here and there. The cloud breaking across Scotland, some clearer spells coming in here, with thicker clouds still persisting over England and Wales. So still quite a warm night, but it will be turning cooler, particularly by tomorrow night across the south. As we go through tonight, as I said, the cloud breaking up across Scotland, so generally a sunnier day to come here. Still fairly cloudy at times around the east coast, and should also be a brighter day generally across Northern Ireland. Again, a bit of cloud early on, but it should be breaking up. It'll take a little longer for the cloud to break up across England and Wales, so again, for that journey to work in the morning, it may be a little bit drab, but again, not much rain around. Apart from the odd little bit of drizzle here and there, most places will again have a dry day. And look at this, the cloud tends to break up as we go through the morning. So Northern England, much of Wales, the Midlands should turn sunnier by lunchtime. May take a little longer for the sun to come out across the south of England, but even here I'm hopeful it will do by the middle of the afternoon. Temperatures about average for the time of year, feeling fresh again on those North Sea coasts with a brisk wind, but in the sunshine elsewhere, feeling pleasant enough. Temperatures dropping sharply though through the evening, and it will be a chilly start to Thursday. Again, many places dry and bright with some spells of sunshine, just a bit more cloud bubbling up as we go through the day. But generally a fine day to come on Thursday too, and the fine weather set to persist really even into the weekend. A lot of dry weather and turning just a touch warmer as well, although the mornings will still be chilly.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
What does it feel like to be a Great British Giveaway winner?
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Do you know what? I've never won anything like this in my life.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
That is absolutely fantastic.
We're over the moon.
Yes, that is fantastic.
You know, you have no idea how much I needed it. Oh my goodness.
You've won £54,321.
Please don't joke. This would change my life.
Oh, thank you so much. I was gobsmacked. Thank you, GB News.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it. If you're not in it, you've got no chance of winning it. Thank you.
You weren't expecting to get that call today, were you?
No, I wasn't.
You really could be our next big winner. Head over to gbnews.com/win now to find out how and get your entry for the Great British Giveaway. Great prizes, even greater wins.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens.